You can do the R's that roll, Balderrama.
Yeah, no, I can't. I really, really can't. Welcome back, Inebri-art. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast, and I am once again recording from my COVID fallout shelter here in Plymouth, Mass. And I've reached out to a guitarist out in LA. I feel like we've been talking to a lot of people in LA recently, but Michelle Balderrama, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
So you're in multiple bands. You're not just you're an overachiever, basically.
I wouldn't say overachiever. I just love to do a lot of fun stuff.
So you're in LA Machina. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you can say the Spanish. We actually just say LA Machina.
Machina, okay. And Brain Spoon.
Brain Spoon.
And was there another one?
There's another band. I play lead guitar with them. It's called Electric Children. They're based out of Silver Lake, California. Yeah.
So, how did you get into playing guitar? And I don't mean this to sound sexist, but generally you don't see female lead guitar players a lot. So how did that come about? Was it an early on thing? Did you come from a musical family?
Actually my family, they're very musical from both ends. I mean, both my families, they came from Mexico, but even in Mexico, there was a lot of they're all musicians. My great grandfather was like a drummer. My dad plays multiple instruments, so it's just kind of a family tradition thing to like pick up an instrument and start playing some music. So I picked up early age. I started with kind of piano, small things, and then my dad one morning woke up and told me, I enrolled you into the school band and you're going to be playing the alto sax. So I was like,
oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
I played alto sax for a while.
Yeah. I played clarinet and sax myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. The sax is fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Actually, the sax was actually prior to lead playing was the lead before lead guitar became the fill-in part for a lead, the sax. So, but yeah, it's funny. After a while, I just, I was really into rock and roll because my dad grew me up into listening to rock and roll music. So, listen to all the 60s stuff. But yeah, I mean, I really wanted to play electric guitar. Just like seeing all the Hendrix stuff, and later on getting into like the Stooges and David Bowie with Mick Ronson and all that wah stuff. I mean, I love the wah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mostly my inspiration is just male playing rock and roll, just males. Even though, I know women right now are taking over of more into the rock and roll thing.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Male still, man. I love how men play and body rock and roll. It's just so cool. And, I mean, it's my biggest inspiration. It's just playing and writing music. It's just a man playing rock and roll.
Was there one specific person that you remember hearing that you're like, I want to do that?
I mean, since a small age, I saw that Woodstock thing. My dad played me. I was like probably 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there was Santana, but Hendrix, man. I mean, Jimmy just he makes it look so easy when he was up there. It's just like wailing away, just having such a good time.
Yeah.
So I would fantasize I was him.
I think I think every kid wanted to be like a rock star.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But when I discovered later the Stooges and discovering Ron Ashton, it was just like, oh, I love his playing. And that Funhouse record is just it's so underrated.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it because it's kind of like my little secret. It's like Ron Ashton is like one of my top favorite guitar players, There's a little psychedelic in there with that, going on in there.
When you're working on your own music, do you try to kind of emulate their sound, or do you try to like really, build your own style and sound?
I mean, I don't like to copy too much too close to what someone else is doing, but definitely I love to emulate some parts, but then I still like to bring my own because I'm saying I have different influences all around, so I kind of bring that all together into one, So it could be a little bit of everything coming all together.
And your newest band, LA Machina, how did that come about? I mean, that's relatively like within the past year, right? Is that?
Yeah, it's not even a year yet. God, that just kind of unexpectedly happened. I was playing actually in a prior band called the Darts, and the drummer that I'm with in LA Machina, Ricky, we both were in the band together. And I think me and her played in a band prior, and if you heard of Paul Myra-Delran, we did a little she does like 60s garage kind of sound, and me and her, like, you know, were her West Coast band, you know, so I've done Ricky for a while. But I mean, since a kid, I've always wanted to front a band, but I never felt like I knew that I had what it takes to do it. Just kind of shy kid. So I kind of always put myself on the sideline. So when this thing finally, the Darts thing, I kind of parted ways, and I knew something like, okay, I got to do something. I'm like, I want to front a band. I think this is the time, right? I was like, this is the time. I got to do it. So I kind of a year went around, and I think me and Susie, because me and Susie knew each other for a while, and Susie Moon, she's from the Turbulent Hearts. So we kind of did a jam session like a year before this all started, and we just kind of tested the waters. So we kind of just left it on hiatus, and so when Ricky became available, I kind of just, I'm going to hit her up because, you know, Ricky, she's like one of my favorite drummers. She's just so good. I don't know. She's amazing. So I hit her up, and I was just like, let's see what testing the waters. And sure enough, she was interested in playing. So we kind of just recorded a couple of songs, and we're just like, well, shit, let's just do this. So, but man, it's been so far. Obviously, the quarantine thing put us on hold, and our tour got on hold. But it looks like, you know, next year, hopefully, if all's possible, we'll be doing some big things. So I'm really excited. So.
Yeah, we've talked to so many musicians who were either on tour, just putting out a new album, getting ready to go on tour. I mean, it is what it is, but it just like derailed so many people doing so many things.
I know. Yeah, I think I was at my last show. I think before this all, I was at the Redwood. I think with Electric Children, we were playing with the Hangman. And I think that show was kind of up in the waters because it's in downtown LA. So there was like all day, like a yes or no. Are we going to do the show or not? So we ended up doing it. But I think the Hangman, they were supposed to leave on tour that Sunday. And obviously everything just got last second blown over. I was like, wow, that's totally sad. So
yeah, I remember we were just talking with the lead singer of oh man, now I'm blanking on the name of the band, but they were just kicking off their tour. They're from the UK, and they were in New York, and that's when all the gigs started to get canceled. And they managed to grab one kind of last minute gig opening for the Dead Kennedys, and they're like, that gig gave us enough money to fly back to the UK, so we didn't get stuck here.
We've been stuck there.
Yeah. So it's just been such a weird time.
Yeah.
Are you using,
I mean, I was just
Are you using it
Hello?
to Are you using it to work on new music? Are you guys rehearsing at all? Like, how are you filling your quarantine time?
Actually, it's funny. I've been so busy because I have, you know, my main job, which is I'm an interior and an exterior house painter.
Okay.
So I do these really big jobs. And I was actually worried because like, wow, we're going to be out of business. It's kind of almost like I run a small business, painting, and I wasn't sure. I mean, we got lucky. I guess our job is considered to be essential. Yeah. You know, so all the hardware stores were open, and you know, we've still been managing to just stay consistent. So I mean, a lot of my friends have been like messaging, and they're just like, I'm so bored, I'm tired. And I feel so bad for them because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so busy right now. We have these huge jobs coming in and out, but I'm still writing stuff. So
yeah. Well, don't feel bad. We're all jealous. Yeah.
I guess it's funny though, but I've been kind of jealous. Like, God, I just want one quarantine day. I've been yelling, please let me have one day of quarantine.
If you want one, feel free to take one of mine because I'm all set. So at what point, I mean, have you always been in bands? Did you kind of like start a band in high school? I think that's kind of when most kids do that? And
yeah. You know what? I started kind of late. I was kind of an outcast kid. But I've always, you know, reached out to music and stuff. So I guess I would say kind of late. I mean, my first, I guess you call professional when I joined Brain Spoon, it was at the age of 21. I literally turned 21 like 2 weeks after I joined.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was crazy. They're like, so they asked my age. And it was funny because when we first met, it was literally like off a gas station. And I mean, I didn't know what it took to be in a band. I mean, I just had my 8-track that I've been hooked with like for the last 2 years, just creating stuff.
Yeah.
And I had this shitty, like this, it was like the Samick $100 guitar. It was so hard to play. It was just the action was so bad. I had this little small like Marshall, and I thought I was so cool because it said Marshall. I was like, yes, it's a Marshall. But this tiny little amp. So I put it all in the car and I drive up, you know, the gas station. I had my glasses on. I was so nervous. And so there they were. I was like, should I get off or should I get off? And like, they weren't sure if like, okay, I'm like, I've never been in a band before. But I gave them a CD and I write songs and, you know, so, you know, I listened to some of the stuff that they were doing, and it was in the same vein that, you know, it's just very rock and roll, straight up rock and roll based. And so, you know, they gave me a CD, learned these songs, and then I told them, hey, if I don't have what it takes, you know, you guys just tell me, you know, you suck, we don't want you in the band. You know, so literally that weekend, I had to learn how to play standing up because I've been playing sitting down in a chair.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I got to get a strap and learn how to play standing up. So I remember I was like for hours just there, like 8 hours straight. Like, I have to do this. I have to do this.
So how long did you have before your first gig?
It was probably, let's say, a little under a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had some downtime and we're just working on like songs, you know, new songs, you know. But yeah, I remember Chris gives me a call, and it was like a Monday. It was this place up in Glendale. It was called The Scene at that time, and I don't think I was ready. And I was just like, I'm not ready yet. And sure enough, Chris, we're just booking a show. So he booked it. It was on a Monday. I think it might have been like around like in September, so like in the fall. And so I'm eating, and he gives me a call, like, hey, so I just booked the show for this Monday. And I was like, he's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this. So, but yeah, the first show was just, I definitely knew after our first show when that lead part was coming up, I was just like, okay, you got to really practice because it's like, you know, you got to be, when that lead comes, you have to be confident. There's no like, oops, it's coming. So I think after that first show, it was just like, okay, there's a lot of work I need to do. So, you know, from there, I just started really working even harder just to get to, you know, to that point of, you know, feeling a little more confident on stage. So.
Yeah. And that's kind of, you don't get a lot of timid rock guitar players. So, I mean, I feel like that could, even the appearance of that could like really kind of hurt you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And just thinking it's a very male thing, you know, lead, you know, I see all these guys playing lead. I'm like, I want to play like that, you know? So, yeah, there were a lot of boot camp practices in my room in front of the mirror with all the pedals, just like training, whoop ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with the nerves going on stage for that first time?
The nerves? Oh, God.
Were there any?
Funny 'cause oh yeah, I was very nervous. I was actually very nervous before it's funny when people think you were nervous. I've dealt with a lot of like stage anxiety, like for the first, I would say like 5-6 years. Like I would be very nervous. I would maybe seem more social. I would think that before the show, I would have this like social like anxiety that I never knew I had. But it was just I would get so nervous before a show. I mean, it's funny now. I think that I'm much older and have been around more playing. It's just like now it's the complete opposite. So when I look back then, how nervous I used to get, it's funny because it's like now it's just like, you know, I want to go and hang out. And it's just like, I love the before, talking to people, hanging out, and, building to the momentum of our set. So,
yeah.
But, God, I think I was just sitting down and I was trying to be distracted because my bandmates, I would say at that time, and still obviously they are, but they're pretty much like half my age older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So at first when they're like, they would interview us, they would always ask us like, how is it having Michelle that is like half your age in the band, because they were already in their like 40s and I was barely 21 or 22, and they're like, how does it feel having, but I was just like, we all had the same taste in music and the same bands, so it's just like, it didn't really matter the age, or whatnot. So, but
it's like when you think of LA and California in general, there's so many of like the legendary rock clubs out there, the Viper Room and whatnot. Is there a place out there that is like on your bucket list to play, or if you had a chance to like play at any of the great classic spots?
Oh, LA. Oh, easy. The Troubadour. I love the Troubadour. I've seen so many good shows there too. It's just like, just the vibe, and it's just, I don't know. It just has the sound there seems like it's so dialed in, and the way the stage is laid out. And a lot of times they do shows that's for all ages. So I love that vibe where they can get all the kids to come in and, hang out. So yeah, hopefully maybe in LA Machina. I'm like, okay, we got to do the freaking Troubadour. Yeah.
So cool. You were talking about kind of putting tours on hold and whatnot with LA Machina. Like where were you planning on going? Was it just kind of a local California thing? Were you looking to go across the country?
Actually, yeah, we were our first, for the summer, our plan was we kind of just put it together ourselves. So we were going to do just why not kicking it we were going to just do the Europe thing again. So, we've all been to Europe before. We're like, well, why not just start it out and just do a big Europe tour? So yeah, we were actually in the midst, and we had some festivals as our anchor dates. Mm-hmm. But as soon as those dates got canceled, we had to. They're not canceled. They're being postponed till 2021.
Right. It seems like everything's getting pushed off till next year.
Yeah, we're still doing the fest. It's not happening this year, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I think we might for next year, since we might push it and make the tour a little longer. Maybe do some other countries out of Europe. So we might just double it and just make it extra epic. So,
so when you guys are doing it, when you guys are doing it yourself, like how do you approach a place in a foreign country to book you? Like how do you manage to pull that off?
It's funny because it seems like if you're in America, if you've never gone there, it just seems like a whole new world. You're like, oh, how do you know? But I think from like when we did Darts, and Ricky's been there, she's gone plenty of times to Europe, and then Susie herself, she's been touring since she was 15. With her sister band, Civette. She's been everywhere. So we have a lot of connections. So, as soon as we put this band together, everybody knew us, and we knew all the bookers out there. The one that was booking, I think, this guy named Ludo, and we knew this other guy, Stefan, that booked for Susie. So we had two bookers booking the tour. And we know a lot of the bands, so I know a lot of bands out there in Europe. So, we're slowly, everyone from their end, we're kind of just like putting this package together of this cool tour, which makes it awesome because we kind of already been there, have experience. Right. So it makes it a little easier to get out there, to play out there.
So do you guys have kind of a built-in fan base because of your other bands that you guys have been in? Is there like a lot of carryover, or is it completely starting from scratch?
I would say, yeah, we have a lot of fans out there. So a lot of them are actually really excited that we're coming back out there. And some of those festivals we played, we're like the Jock Fest. We played that, me and Ricky together. Susie, I think she's done a couple that we're playing out there. So yeah, it's kind of, I wasn't expecting ever to go back to some of those festivals, and it's kind of exciting because especially in Europe, the festivals there, people are just they love rock and roll, and they just, I don't know, the approach there is so different, a little bit from LA the way it is. It's just people are just so humble, and they just love music, and it's just, you feel welcomed, they treat you well, and So I'm definitely excited to go back there again. Unfortunately, I have to wait till another year
Another year, yeah.
It's gonna happen, yeah.
So how does the songwriting differ from something like Brain Spoon, where you kind of joined an already existing band, to LA Machina, where it's kind of like your project? Is there a huge difference in the way that you write the music?
You know what? Not really. It's funny in Brain Spoon because obviously I wasn't the original member, but since I joined, I slowly, because I had more time than everyone, and it's so younger. So I mean, I love songwriting. It's for me. It's just I could spend hours and days and just creating stuff. So at a very young age, when I got into it, I was just constantly writing. So, and this was before even being in the band. So when I joined Brain Spoon, it's like now I had a reason. So I was just constant. I had my job, but then I'd come home and I'd just be on nonstop, making demos and stuff. So a lot of the stuff, like the early stuff we just record, some of the stuff we recorded for like Guitarist or LA Machina, some of them are old stuff that just has sitting in my 8-track that I thought could be, like Teenage Head, our single, was a song that I've saved. We tried to actually record it with Brain Spoon, but we never released it.
Yeah.
I kind of just never released the song, but I always wanted to, record it. So it's cool how it was meant to be for now, because it came out so well, the song, especially with Ricky and Susie. They really made the song, they brought the song to where I wanted it to sound. So, but as far as songwriting, I mean, Brain Spoon, I became the songwriter in the band. Like, hey, Michelle, what do you got? So I kind of accidentally became the one coming up with ideas, And, I had staff help me write stuff, and then I'd bring a song, or they would help me, we'd maybe really perfect the structure, or just little details that, make it pop out. So, I mean, in LA Machina now, it's just kind of the same thing. The only thing that's cool is that, because Ricky could record her drums from her house. She's got this cool mic. So we've been doing a lot of demoing, which is a little different, because I've never done, mostly always have the drummer, we're together recording. So I'll send her like the click track, and then she'll send her drums, and then, I layer over it. So it's fun. I love it. So I'm still songwriting, I guess. I mean, trying to think if there's something different. It's probably just the members. And I mean, same as Brain Spoon and LA Machina, most of the time, I kind of don't like to be boxed in a genre, I would say. So, I mean, I would say more LA Machina and Brain Spoon both have that thing where there's not really like a specific rock genre. I mean, it's pretty much just rock and roll all around, I would say. I mean, I probably see the only difference is that I'm fronting it this time. So, I don't know.
So now when you're writing, do you kind of go, like, if you come up with a song idea, are you kind of like, oh, I think this would sound better with Brain Spoon or the other project? So do you kind of have that?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, it depends too, obviously, on the singing style, or maybe sometimes I don't have an idea. So, like, melody wise, so I'd go, hey, maybe Daphne would be into, like, into this kind of thing. So, but yeah, for me, it's just fun to have that creative outlet, from both bands, and just, creating stuff, and, obviously for the fans and people. I love people enjoying, especially right now with all this weirdness, people need some good music coming out, after this whole lockdown.
So nuts. I've seen a lot of people online playing, kind of like streaming on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Have you guys been doing any of that?
Like live stream and stuff?
Yeah.
We did one live stream. It wasn't really a live stream, but we did a punk rock bowling. They wanted bands to submit. It was kind of last minute. They wanted the bands to submit, because we were supposed to play punk rock bowling the main stage. It was supposed to be this weekend that just passed. Our day was the 25th, so everything got postponed till next year. So we'll be playing the main stage in Vegas for the punk rock bowling, but it'll be 2021. So instead that, what is it?
What is punk rock bowling? Do they actually bowl while you play? Or is it just the name?
You know what? I think there is bowling. I've never been to the area where the main stage is at.
Yeah.
But I've been to the event. So it'll be the first time to actually see the full, the big concert area. So punk rock bowling pretty much is just all punk rock bands. Mm-hmm. They kind of have where they close down that whole, I would say, from like Thursday to like a Monday, Memorial Day weekend. And all the clubs around there is just bands are playing. It's all rock and roll. I would say punk rock. It's rock and roll bands, just like each club's got going on. So then they have like these two smaller stages, and they have the big stage where all the big bands play.
Yeah.
So they have like big acts like the Damned, the Hives. Each year is different. They have these big bands, Turbo Negro. They have everything. So we actually got Susie hooked it up. She played, and so did Ricky. They played the year before they played on the main stage. So Susie hit up the guy that ran the event, and mm-hmm. It was like last minute. We just kind of put the band together. We just did our first single, and we just like, hey, she hit him up, and we think at least we can get like a club show or something for the event. And the guy writes back like a week later and says, if you guys are interested, I can get you on the main stage. We're like, what? We're just like dying. I was literally dying. I couldn't believe it. I was just crying like, holy crap. So yeah, let me know if you want to do it. We're like, of course. So we literally right submit. It was like last minute, got in. We just could not believe it. So that was before anything. We haven't announced the band yet. So that weekend he told us. So that Friday they were going to make the announcement. All the bands are going to be on the event. So we haven't even announced we're a band yet or had any social media. We haven't even announced our first song. We had our engineer, Mass, that is engineering from Illinois. Mm-hmm. And he was mastering, mixing the song. So we're like, okay, we got one single out. So Susie was like in the middle trying to finish the video. She was doing the video for that. So I'm working with the engineer. Ricky's working with the label, Alternative Tentacles. And we're trying to get everything like in a week, ready. So when they announced Punk Rock Bowling, we announced the band, we announced our first song and our single. It was insane. That week was so stressful. We're like, oh my God, we had to get all the social media. It was crazy. But we made it happen. So in such a short amount of time. So, I mean, we make a great team, the three of us. So
yeah. I almost like that kind of pressure. I feel like it makes things more, I feel like it gives me less time to second guess myself. So I feel like the results are better.
Yeah. It's, I think bands, these bands that I've been in, it's just, I think sometimes you overthink things or you're mm-hmm. like, oh, it's got to be too perfect, but it's just like, sometimes when you do that, it's right. You get less done. It's like, you want to move forward. You want to just like, let's just do it, And I think that's what LA Machina has, that approach. We're all so hungry. We just want to get it out there. We want to get going. We want to move to the next step. So,
right.
So yeah, so it's cool because it looks like this band, we're just like, we want to initiate, get out there and get stuff done. And, so it's exciting, each month could be a different thing.
Yeah. You mentioned a lot of festivals. Do you prefer playing festivals or like small clubs, or like what's your favorite place to play?
I mean, I love festivals. European festivals are the funnest. They're just, if you get to play one, obviously you've never had to play one of those, but we played, the Jock Fest in Belgium, and it was insane because even the bouncers were crowd surfing. I've never seen that. Most of the time you go to show the crowd, they're like, hey, they were so cool. They became all my best friends. They're like, Michelle, come back. Just like in Belgium. And they were just like crowd surfing. They were like, throw themselves. I was like, this is insane. They love rock and roll. So yeah, the festivals in Europe are the funnest. I've done that one. I've done the Cosmic Trip Fest it's in France, in Bourg, France. It's just insane. Danced my life away. It was just so much fun. It's just like, it's just so epic. But festivals they seem just so. And it's cool too because a lot of times if they put you on a bill with a band that you really like, there's like good lineup. it's
Yeah.
cool because you get a free show, you get to hang out with the band, you get to see the set. So, I love playing it, but also I love to get to see other bands. I like to catch a show.
Plus,
And I'm a fan myself, so I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, I get to hang out.
Have you ever had that kind of fan moment where you kind of had to like pull it together? Was there like one band that you met where you're like, all right, keep it cool? Like I gotta be cool. I gotta be a cool rock musician. I can't be like, oh my God, I love you.
I would say, you know what? Actually, yeah, there was one. We actually got to play with Turbo Negro, and I love Euroboy. He's such a great guitar player. So when we saw they were on the bill with the same, they were on the same stage. Because they have, sometimes in Europe, they have two stages.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when one stage is like they're getting set up, they're in the other tent.
Yeah.
So once that is set, it's kind of like you just carry your little beer can, and you just, go back and forth.
So there's always music going.
Yeah, so it was the weirdest thing. So I saw them, and I was right up where the monitor was, and his guitar was just like, oh, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna be deaf for a couple days. But I was like, that was so worth it. So, I went backstage and kind of get some food. I'm walking back because they had this whole area blocked off for the bands in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just walking. I see somebody kind of walking the same distance as me. So I kind of just turn around, and I was like, oh my God. Like, it's Euroboy. Like, literally, I'm like, oh shit. Oh, like, no way. Like, what chances? He's like, I look over and it's him.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, dude, what's up? Yeah, I played it cool, but I was just like, dude, I go, you're like one of my favorite guitar players. He goes, oh yeah. I go, I just played two on the same stage. That's cool. It's like, oh shit, okay, cool. They're like, yeah. On the smaller stage? I go, no, on the same stage that you played. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was totally cool. I try to keep it cool. I'm like, dude, you're so awesome. Yeah. So it was cool to actually meet him because he's such a great guitar player. It's just like, yeah. But I'm trying to think who else. I think I met King Kong in a shrine. I haven't met that many well-known musicians, but I remember King Kong. It was weird because I was a tour driver for this band called the Cavemen. So they're from New Zealand. They moved to the UK, but they were originally from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
So I became their driver in the USA. They had like a US West Coast tour. So they played this festival in Reno. It was called, God, what was the festival called? Oh, I forget. But this huge festival in Reno was like a 3-day festival. And they played at this club called Jub Jub. So they had all these punk bands. It was just like punk bands after punk bands. And so his band, it wasn't King Kong on the Train, it was King Kong and the Barbecue that played. It's like a 2-piece band.
Yeah.
So after, the show was from 8 till 5 a.m., So the bands played till 5. I think that band played till 5. The Cavemen played till at 5 in the morning. It was crazy. So we go back to the hotel, and some people are gambling. So I decided I'd just check. I see who's gambling. Sure enough, it was the weirdest first time to meet King Kong finally. But he was literally playing blackjack and jumping up and down. And he started yelling like, I have to pee, I have to pee, I have to pee. And then he took off. I'm like, oh shit. He just so I'm waiting there, and finally he comes back. He's like, okay. I was like, hey dude, what's up? Can I get a photo? Hey, what's up? What's up? But it was so hilarious. He's later right in my face, just jumping up and down. I have to pee. And it just runs off. Cool.
So how did you end up being a tour driver? Like, did they just be like, hey, what are you doing for the next couple weeks or whatever? And
yeah, I did a couple tour days. It was actually really fun. How I got the job was when I was playing the darts. Nicole, the keyboard singer, she got depositioned to run the label. They were starting the USA part because Dirty Water London's was a Dirty Water, but it was in London, the label that we were signed under.
Yeah.
So one of the guys came out to the US and he wanted to start the USA part. So she's pretty known in the garage scene. So he wanted her to help her run the label. So they had bands coming from Europe and they needed, drivers. So one of the guys that was helping the band, Justin, they call him Tour Jesus. He was like a tour driver, man.
Tour Jesus.
He was always, he was like Tour Jesus. He was like a father. He still is kind of like the tour father, the Jesus, keeps everything in order.
Yeah.
I love Justin. He's so cool. So he hit me up, Michelle, do you know anybody who want to be the tour driver for some of these bands? And I was like, I'll find out. He's like, I was meaning you. I was like, oh, me? I go, well, let me think about it for a bit. So after I thought about it, like, that'd be kind of cool to be the driver, I guess. It wasn't that much pay, but I was like, well, hell, I'll be on tour, because I did the tour. And then from there, like 2 days later, we jumped to our Europe thing. Right. And I come back and it was another tour. Like I did I just did two. I did the Cavemen and I did this band called Wild Evil and the Trash Bones. They're from Vienna, Austria.
Okay.
So I just did 2 tours, but it was crazy because I had all these tours one after another from my own to the tour driving. So it's just I was literally on tour like 24/7. So
how do you find time to paint houses?
Well, you know what? It was crazy because my boss at that time, he was just kind of cool about it, and he still is. Like it's almost like a self-business thing. Yeah. So it's like family. So he knows that I'm doing music. I'm like, dude, I'm going to Europe. I'm doing. So he's like, all right, go, come back. So I've been lucky that he's been cool about letting me, come and go. So hopefully he's good with that. I told him, you got lucky, Bill. I told my boss, you got lucky this summer. I'll be around. But yeah, man, touring is fun. And once you get on the go with it, you just don't want to stop,
you don't ever get burned out and you just be like, I just want to be home. And
you could. I mean, the thing is just a lot of time, if you do a lot of drinking, you don't sleep, you're drinking, you stay focused and just you can last a long tour. But if you're, I'm saying, there have been tours that we've done and we were drinking a lot. It's just like, you feel horrible at the end. You're just like, okay, this is not working,
Yeah.
So it's best to eat well, don't overdrink. Make sure you focus on sleeping, that way you have a good performance, and you're not worked out,
So on these tours, are you taking like a bus, a van, a overly packed station wagon? Like how? Like...
We're on donkeys.
You're on donkeys? Yeah, that works, I suppose.
No, I think most of the time, it'd be awesome to get to the point where you have like the label like provides a tour bus, Yeah. I'm working on that's on the bucket list. But no, it was probably still in vans, Yeah. Mostly, even if you go to Europe, you just fly, and then you have a van and your driver there waiting for you to pick you up. So,
So,
but
when you're doing like a European tour, do you like rent equipment or just kind of bring your guitar and rent amps and stuff? Or?
Yeah, mostly Europe, they have the stuff for you there. So, I think what we'll do, because we had different situations where we show up and then the venue would provide, which is hard if you play guitar because it's like they'll bring you like a Vox one day and the next day they'll bring you a Marshall.
Yeah.
So it's always hard to adjust your pedals, if you have a certain sound and you have like, an orange and then the next day you have a, some Ampeg or something. So it's probably the best to just rent your own gear there because you can't really take your amps there unless you have it shipped there, which is, it's really expensive.
Right.
So a lot of times we'll rent the equipment and then we have our driver that we pay for that would drive us. And as far as instruments, that's always a challenge when you go on a plane because there's a lot of times that you almost have to bribe them to for them to like allow your guitar to be on the plane.
Right.
And there's been times that didn't happen and they just, maybe the lady was not in a very good mood and you were just, that's it. So she takes your guitar and she would just like, you'll see it after. And there's times that I've gone down below and my guitar's just laying there in the conveyor belt. I'm like, oh my God, somebody could have just stole this thing. And they're just like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's always hit and miss as far as when you take your instrument across the sea, if it survives it or not. There's times I was worried that it'd be broken because, when you take it on a plane, sometimes your neck could get damaged.
Sure, yeah. Especially when they check it, you don't know what the hell's going on with it,
Yeah. Yeah, I've had times when I've got checked. There's one time I missed my plane because security, for some reason, when I do the security check, I always have my pedals in my backpack.
Yeah.
So they think they're bombs. So here we go again. So they're checking, and I always get double checked. And there was one incident that we were just really running late. So everybody just started running, gets their stuff, and they're running across to get on that plane. And I was one of the last ones. And then so this guy's like testing, like it's like the second or third time. So finally he finished test. He grabs all my pedals and takes it back to the beginning. I was like, oh my God, why did you just do that?
Yeah.
He's all, it needs to get checked one more time. I was like, this is the third time I'm missing so I missed my plane because the guy was just like, it needs a third check. So I was like, oh my God. So I need to figure out a different way. I might have to take my pedals on, in my suitcase instead and kind of just wrap them. I got to figure out a different way because that whole pedal check is not going to work again.
That's crazy. I never even thought about bringing all this electronics onto an airplane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Is there where is your absolute favorite city to play in, and what's the worst city to play in?
Ooh, I've never been asked what's the worst.
There's got to be one.
Well, I haven't hit all the cities yet that I want to, but the ones so far that I hit, I will have to say, top three. Top number one is definitely Dijon in France. And if you ever get a chance to go there, it's so freaking awesome. It's being a painter, because we sometimes will do antique paintings, and it's a lot of stuff we imitate that is in Europe. So a lot of the stuff I saw there, the architecture, all the gargoyles, and you're just surrounded by all these cathedrals. It's just phenomenal. It's just like breathtaking. That's my favorite city, Dijon. And we actually, at that one time when I played with the darts, it was the first tour ever. We literally seen a hotel in the middle of the whole city, and we played in this area. I forget the name of the venue, but it was like a cave. It felt like an underground cave. You'd go underneath. Cool. And we sweated so much because it was humid. It was cold, but it was humid.
Yeah.
There's photos we got off the stage. People were taking photos. It looked like I literally got off the shower. And I felt like when she in the middle of the set, I could feel her sweat just slapping me. I'm like, dude, it's so freaking hot.
That's gross.
We were drenched. Just drenched. It was so insane. So Dijon would say second. I'm trying to think of second. I mean, there's a lot of cities in Europe where it's just insane. I would say just the city itself. You know what? I would say second. I really like Seattle. That's insane to say.
Oh,
but
okay.
Seattle was cool. I mean, I guess we were lucky. We actually got there when we were there. It was my first night actually being in Seattle. But we were there. I know it's always cloudy, but for some reason that time we were there, we're like eating nearby the water because they had like the whole fish market. And the city's right there. So I like that combination with the market in the city in downtown. And it was sunny. I was like, whoa, I thought Seattle was supposed to be like cloudy and dark, but it was hot. So yeah, I love Seattle. It's cool. It's just like, I don't know. I would actually move there if so.
Is there one city?
I mean, it would be one of the cities.
Yeah. Is there one city where you're like, I'm not going back there?
Oh, I'm trying to think of what city. I don't know. I don't think I had a city that hit me like, oh God, I hate this city.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I don't know if somebody's like listening. What city are you from? Hope I don't say the city that someone is like watching. They're like, I'm never gonna go watch them play. Yeah. I don't think if there's a city that would hate. I try to think if there's one. I know most of the time people have been pretty nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm trying to think of one that didn't like. I haven't really had that bad of experience in a city. So.
Well, it sounds like you super enjoyed touring. So
I would just say L.A., man. I went to L.A. Like, Michelle, get out of here.
Yeah. So, where can our listeners go to check out your music? What websites, Bandcamp, like where are you at?
I mean, for both, I would say for LA Machina, I would go to. You can check us out. I mean, we're all over, so you can go on Spotify. We actually only have one single. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have all these songs, but we're kind of slowly. Like we were talking this morning, I go, let's not expose everything at once. It's kind of good to kind of keep people wanting more. Right. We're just kind of showing just show 1/4 of the nipple. You don't show the whole thing, just a piece of it, and got to keep the mystery going.
Yeah.
So we only got one single right now, which is Teenage Head. You can find the video. It's up on YouTube. And you can find it on Spotify, iTunes. I think we're on Bandcamp, are we? On CD Baby. So hopefully our single will be out. Actually, we're doing it's going to be a double single with it's going to be a song called Go and Teenage Head, which it's going to be under Alternative Tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
If you know Jello Biafra and Dom. So, yeah, so hopefully everything will open up again and we can have this the single that was supposed to be out. It was actually supposed to be out yesterday. It was supposed to be at the festival. They were gonna print like 100 of those, 50 or 100 of those, just for the festival.
Yeah.
But since the printing companies they're kind of shut down right now,
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the status is at the moment. So hopefully once things get opened up and back up running, we can get this thing released, so for everyone.
Nice.
So, but I mean, so far it's all just on the internet. Let's see. Also, too, we have another thing. We have that punk rock bowling. We just released it this morning. It's we did a live video of the song, which is another song that we recorded. It's called Highway of the Night. We just did a live version of it at the studio.
Yeah.
So we have a video of it, and it's up. Just exclusive for the punk rock bowling. So you can see that too on YouTube. On our, you can subscribe to the LA Machina YouTube channel. Yeah, so you can be up to date with the stuff. As far as Brain Spoon, you can find us also. Same thing, Facebook. You can find us. Our videos are up on YouTube. If you wanted to see, we have two videos. One is Down in Flames. And then we have an older song from the previous record, from No Damage record. It's Bleeding Black and White. But yeah, you can find all this stuff on Spotify, CD Baby, iTunes,
All places where music can be found.
All places. You can actually find it,
Nice.
Maybe at the record store as well.
Record store? What the hell are those?
Yeah, exactly. Those need to open up, man. I'm waiting for those stores to get taken in.
Oh man, we had one here on Main Street in Plymouth for a few years, and it just closed up last summer.
Oh really?
Yeah, they're just like a dying breed, harder and harder to come by.
Sorry, you live in what city? You're in Houston, right?
No, Plymouth, Mass.
Oh, okay. I thought you were for some reason in Houston. I think I saw the thing that said Houston for a second. I thought.
Oh no. Home of the Pilgrims. I live
awesome.
about 2 blocks from Plymouth Rock. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How is it? What's the weather? You would say.
It has been. Well, it's New England, so it's a constant crapshoot. It rained like April.
Oh, is it really?
All of April.
Oh wow!
So this month has been somewhat better. It's starting to clear up. It's starting to get warmer, but I think it's supposed to be cooler this weekend. So it's kind of all over the
cool.
place.
So you could probably get a lot of rain, I would say. Yeah.
We can because I'm so close to the ocean.
Yeah.
But everyone says like, oh, our weather's crazy, but like we've gotten lightning snow several times. And like we get
lightning and snow?
Yeah, like we get bonkers.
Oh.
Yeah, it's when it happens.
Oh, I've never seen that mixed together.
The world's coming to an end. This is not supposed to happen. And we'll have like 70-degree days in the middle of December, and then it'll be 40, and then it'll be like 8 2 days later. It's really strange. So
that's crazy. That's insane.
But
wow, I'll be able to get this sometime here in California. It'll be like hot, and the next day it'll be cloudy or it's rainy. I'm like, sometimes when we're painting, it's hard to adjust sometimes because it'll be rainy a weekend, and then the next weekend it'll be like boiling hot. So
yeah.
I mean, find out as crazy as lightning and snow, but
yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I don't think I'll ever get used to it.
It's insane.
And
it's crazy.
I'd say it happens every 3-4 years you see it, but not often.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I hope you guys come out to the East Coast. I'm going to try and catch a show.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I've actually never done the East Coast though. But yeah, hopefully, I'd love to go East Coast. I would love to go up to the whole, I've always done West Coast because it's so much easier to do. But yeah, East Coast would be super cool, So hopefully we'd come down at a time when the weather is not too I like to go when there's like lightning
and snow. Yeah,
snow.
you won't be able to get out of the airport.
I've actually seen snow once. It was that tour that I did with the cavemen.
You've only seen snow once? It was my first
tour job. Yeah, well, I lived in I grew up in Oxford, so I'm like whole beach kid, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, snow, you're like, oh my God, snow. So I've never seen snow. So my luck, like my first tour driving job, and I'm in charge with these kids to make sure they get back home safe. And so we're leaving Reno. We have to cross the Lassen National Forest.
Yeah.
So that morning, I guess we found out that this other band that I was actually almost supposed to drive, and they're from France, they left that night, and they crossed, they're crossing the fort in this huge snowstorm, and they got in an accident. They missed their plane. It was just, they were stuck in the snow for hours. So I was like, oh my God. So there we go. We're driving, getting close to the forest, and all of a sudden snow starts coming down. I was like, holy shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I've never seen snow. They're like, Michelle, you've never seen snow. I go, never. Oh my God. So it kept getting wider and wider. All these trees, and it's getting white and white. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But at the same time, I'm freaking the fuck out.
Yeah. And then it gets to that it kind of almost gets that appearance where you're like in the Millennium Falcon and Star Wars, and it's just the stars whizzing by. It's just snow that's whizzing by.
Oh my God, I literally just pulled over and I go, everybody jump off right now. We're going to the snow. I was like, yes, like, dude, Michelle, I've never seen so excited. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Yeah, it was pretty amazing for me. But at the same time, I was totally freaked out because I'm like, dude, I don't have chains, I don't know I've never dealt with snow while I'm driving. So I'm not sure if I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, it takes some practice.
Right. So, I mean, we got lucky that the snow was it was not on the main road. I think they already plowed it out of the way, but everything around was just so beautiful. It's like a white Christmas kind of vibe. Yeah. So, and that was in April. So, okay, I got my Christmas out of the way.
we had a little bit of snow, maybe 2 weeks ago, which is one of the latest I've ever seen it. I mean, it was just like a dusting. It wasn't enough to like.
Oh, 2 weeks ago? Oh, that's crazy.
And hail.
Wow.
But overall, our weather's okay. To me, fall's the best time.
Yeah.
It's cool. The leaves are
changing before it starts snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fall too. Yeah, and the sunsets are kind of weirdly psychedelic-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Thanks for
pretty much it, right?
Time to chat with us. That was it was a
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully, we can have a whole band session soon. Right?
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
How long are you guys still in quarantine for? I thought someone from LA told me until August.
I think actually, in LA, I am not. I mean, I could say. The band's based in LA, but I lived in LA for a while, but I live in Ventura. So it's like an hour away north. Mm-hmm. So I live in the city of Ventura County. So actually, Ventura itself and the whole county actually just opened up for business this past Thursday. But it's different from LA. LA, I guess they're still in lockdown until August. So
yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. So, but as far as Brain Spoon, I think some of the members are still kind of in quarantine, or they have their older parents where they kind of don't want to risk it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff. So, I mean, I think probably maybe we could do an LA Machina one. We're trying to still kind of keep the momentum going.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, stay in touch and stay healthy. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks for inviting me. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Woo-hoo.
Blow off that they want you to be.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art, except for Instagram, we're at Inebri-art6. You can email us with your questions, complaints, and whatnot at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And if you're looking for more podcasts, you can check out the other podcasts on our network, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror, and, of course, Bar Talk, Old Colony, and Inebri-art Podcast, the original. So check those out and subscribe and comment so we can reach more people, and thanks for listening.